Yes, they will. The good guys are already identifying themselves, but there will be a limited amount of the other guys that will be revealed. And I've been told it will be between 10 and 20% of the bad guys, because most of them have taken a deal. Okay.
Just one more little story, that's all right. Who's the best person to contact for the humanitarian projects?
Me.
Is that direct email or?
Yeah, as soon as we get the green light, I'm going to be the official spokesperson for the Oneness Fund. The Oneness Fund has more money in than we could spend in 1,000 years. So we will have direct access, and what I spoke about earlier, about keeping it simple, that will be critical for you to get funding. If you get too complex, it will take too long to get done. Keep it simple, keep it clean, and then you'll find it very, very easy. You know, even Simon put together a very simple package like I did, and they literally gave it the nod straight away. So just use common sense. Don't get overcomplicated. Keep life simple, and life is easy.
Next question's over here, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. This way.
This way.
Hello.
My name's Hannah. I just wanted to find out, you mentioned about the 35,000 children that have been saved. Where are they and what's their future look like?
Well, they're not around my house. No. A lot of them were taken to hospital in Russia, and some were taken to Turkey.
Okay.
But they've been taken away into safe locations and have had access to med beds.
Oh, lovely.
Hello there, Harry from Finland, greetings. In short, I would like to ask you about the future of NATO, European Union and the EU ID wallet, please. Thank you.
Hopefully NATO will just take over Finland. Now, NATO we want rid of, because this is all part of the corrupt system. The United Nations, NATO, this is all part of the cabal's machine. And the one thing I've learned is you can't just demolish it, you have to dismantle it, brick by brick. Otherwise it will come back. With NATO, Finland will be a very interesting place, because it'll go back to what it originally was, and it will have far more control over itself. The same in Denmark, Sweden, Norway. They'll be run in a completely different fashion, that part of the world. And that will be a very positive thing, to get away from the control of NATO and the United Nations and everything else that goes with it. Can we get a question for Simon?
Yeah, question to Simon, please. When Jazara law comes back into the new paradigm, will there be parity for the people of nations such as Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, where the oppressed and made to, misconform, and where there's, even though they may not choose to, and other things that would give parity to the Western world.
Okay. I've just showed a picture to Charlie last night of my grandfather in the United Nations, and the problem at the moment is that big countries dominate all the meetings, and the small countries, which are not small in wealth of energy or hidden resources, but don't have the punching power, they're pushed out. So what Nasara and Jazara will do is actually give parity to all countries, whether they're big or small. So that is absolutely enshrined in the rules. I just want to pick up on the other question about the children. Many of these children will have their names changed. They will have to go to new families, and each child will have a pocket of money which will follow them for the rest of their lives, so they can access this money so that they can overcome the issues they've had. Thank you.
What you were saying, Charlie, earlier about mortgages. So there are a number of us who are putting our heads under the chopping block right now, and our houses on the line, to push back on the mortgage fraud that is going on in this country. And it's real people doing very scary things. And you were saying very interestingly that mortgage debt is being relieved, left, right and centre, it's happening. What's your perspective on the whole picture with this, with regard to people I know who are trying to go up against the Goliath banks, and we're just David. And actually it's very scary. So I'd love your overall perspective, please, on do we need to be doing it? We feel like we should be, because it's the right thing to do, but I'd love your perspective, please. Thank you very much.
That's a very good question. I think it's very important as well that we understand that there's a number of very good people out there who are looking after people who have got into trouble with mortgages. And there are ways, very simple ways, to start the process to stop paying the mortgage and legally. Exactly right. And do it and fight them at their own game. And I know that the first step was to request the original mortgage document that you signed. Of course they can't get that. And yes, they will intimidate you. And they will try everything in the book. But you know that God has your back. And this is where sometimes we need to let go of a human endeavour and connect within. And God has a very wicked sense of humour. He has this sense of humour that says, if you help somebody else, he'll help you. And that's something I've learned on this journey. I had to let go of certain things in my life that I was fighting and help somebody else, and then suddenly he sorted out that problem and helped me in a different way. And this is something that I've had to learn to let go. And in that process, it's scary. Very scary. But I tell you what, when you put your faith in God, for one thing he doesn't do, he never lets you down. He might tease you a few times, but he doesn't let you down. But people, there's a room full of special people that when we put our minds together, we can find solutions. Because somebody in here has got that little gold nugget that they didn't realise they had. And when they learn to share it, they'll probably save a lot of lives. I never thought that when I shared my little nugget, it would have any effect at all. I was just walking along the beach, telling people it was a load of shite. And it turned out to be of value. So thank you for that, but yeah, spot on.
I have a question for Simon. I'm just here, Simon. Sorry. Yeah, here. I just would like to ask in relation to Ursula von der Leyen's new suggestion that she's introducing from the 1st of July EU digital passports to all countries. What do you think of that, or what's going to be the outcome of that, please?
Okay, well, just go back on the last one, that if you are a member of CC, then I would hope that if you have any debt collectors or anybody turning to serve anything up, that a good group of you can stand and block the entrance to the door. So, we do need to take some sort of action. So if you are trying to fight the system, I expect other members to support you and actually turn up. And those of you who are old enough to remember Margaret Thatcher and the council tax, and all the different taxes there, literally they stopped it because so many people stopped the ability to serve those documents. All right, digital passports is something I'm not overly interested in. I think that I am a citizen of the world. I think I'm not just a citizen of one country or another country. You have been, got your eyes around some of these new notes that are coming out, and they won't have a dollar sign or a pound sign. So a one note in London will be acceptable in Japan. That's the point. And that's why passports, we do have to have some form of, not control, but some form of idea of people. I don't like the idea of anything digital that comes out now. Once Jasara is out, then anything must be compliant. If something has been in the making 3 or 4 years and has the cabal written all over it, then we're not interested. But if it's something that's come from the White Hats, then absolutely I'd embrace it. But at the moment, I'd be very cautious.
Sorry, I know I was saying goodbye to a few people.
Somebody got a question for Lucy Davis, please?
Can I just get anybody that hasn't registered for their meal this evening to see Tara, please?
What was going to happen about the Queen? She already been taken out. Apparently going to use the balcony anyway. So.
If we can cast our mind back to when President Trump had that special meeting with the Queen, that was the Queen, the real Queen then. Whether we like it or not, an arrangement was made. And I know a lot of people will say, why are we making deals with these people? The fact of the matter is that if you can get an arrangement with somebody and they call all their minions off, what would take you 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can do in 3 months. So sometimes you have to say, what's better here? Short, sharp shock, or something that goes on and on and on. In terms of bank holidays, who wants to take bank holidays away from people? Whether we like it or not, the history books will look back on the royal family with a reasonable eye. In other words, the legacy, that's the word that we use in the business, the legacy will hold on. The Queen's death will be announced after the official celebrations have taken place. You all are very familiar with CGI. You do not have to be on the balcony of Buckingham Palace to say hi to anybody. It can be done anywhere. And I think the hardest thing must be for the other members of the royal family who know the truth and have to go out every day meeting the media, pretending the lie. So, no, let's not take away people's bank holiday. Let them have their extra holiday. And so far, that side have held true to the commitment they gave to President Trump.
For the children. Could you tell us a bit more about that, please? Because I'm very interested.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. So back in 2020, when lockdown started, one of the brands that I've got is called Self Love Club. So what I decided as soon as we went into lockdown that I would start running Self Love Club for children. Didn't know what the heck it looked like, but I wanted to take action, a bit like I was saying earlier today. So what we started to do at that point was teach children how to grow their own food. So cutting a bit of tomato, putting it in some soil and letting them actually grow their tomato plants. We taught them how to meditate. We taught them, silly little games we did, like sending them out into the garden to go and find a leaf so that they were grounding. And this is the way that this started. Now, I'm working, like I said earlier, with some real-life Avengers, and we've actually got what we're calling a curriculum, just because then we get what we're talking about. But actually, it's a whole new method of working the educational system. So, of course, we need our children to be able to read and write and do basic maths and things like that, but we're looking much bigger picture. What skills, like I said to you guys earlier, what are their passions? How can we get connected to that? What can we do to enhance that? That's the way that we're going to be doing it. And like I said earlier, Nikki, and I really am grateful to you for asking the question, it's not about collapsing the old, fuck the old. We're going forwards, and the only way we can do that is by amazing parents like you guys in the room now that are going to tap into the services that are going to be there. And it's going to have to start small. We've started small already, but it will catch on like wildfire as this awakening is taking place, and that's what's happening right now. A lot of people are all of a sudden just starting to wake up now. People that you thought were fast asleep. How many of you noticed? Like your mum says something, you're like, what? Where did that come from? This is what's happening. We're going through a massive process now with the energies of spiritual awakening. By default, they're going to want to tap into the new educational system and the other things that we're doing. It's going to be very different. Very, very different. Time to get excited.
My name is John. I have a message for Simon. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you, Simon. I joined CC a few months ago, and with like-minded, wonderful people. So thank you for that chance to attain that. What I would like to ask, thank you Simon for that. I would like to ask, what do you think about the Galactic Federation and any ET types? Are they going to be involved in the Nasara Jasara after effect, perhaps? Might be a silly question.
It's not a silly question, and it's the first alien question we've had. And with me up on the front here, I was surprised we didn't have anything earlier. If you go back 3 or 4 years, maybe a bit longer, the technologies that were suddenly being discovered on this planet were not necessarily organically grown. The quantum computer, the real quantum computer, is a gift. Has been given as a gift because we needed something that out-thought the black hats. You know, we're talking about IBM, they say they have a quantum computer, they don't. A real quantum computer is superluminal. Speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. Major mainframe computers that the NSA have can predict human actions up to 6 months. And after that, the level of probability drops off because humans are so unpredictable. But the quantum computer is not looking glass. Don't get that confused with looking glass. The quantum computer can actually look much further ahead and be much more accurate. There have been off-planet entities assisting this Earth for a very long time. But when the chips were down and it looked pretty bleak, not that long ago, people had to make a decision: do they sit on the fence or do they do something about it? You know, and thank goodness we're not alone. Thank you.
I've been there, and I come from Cambridge, the most deep brainwashed city you can find in this country. My question is, we all know we're waking up to this point, and for those normies who hasn't wake up, and then when the news came in one day, will we see chaos on the street? Will we see riots on the street? And what should we do? Is there any plan to calm those people down? That's my question.
Well, I think it's very interesting that you said that Cambridge is the most sleep place. I would put Oxford in the same bracket. Anywhere that's got a university is fucked. Because there's no common sense. It's all part of the matrix. If you want to find people that are awake, you have to go to Liverpool. That's where the common sense comes from. Yeah, all Blackpool, yeah, exactly. Or Glasgow. Exactly, but no, this is the problem. When you're in Oxford, you're in Cambridge, or if you're in America, you're in Yale, wherever. These people are brainwashed in the system. And the one thing I've learned on this journey is the people that I looked at in my life, who I just thought weren't the most smart in the world, have turned out to be geniuses. And the ones that I thought were really clever, thick as fuck. So it's fascinating because it's interesting what we define as being clever. And we think being clever is having letters after your name and all this sort of thing, but there's one. Yeah, exactly.
Charlie, we're out of time.
Alright. So thank you all guys, let's go and eat. And,
we're out of time. They're going to come in. They're going to do the tables. We've got 500 people to feed. Thank you, everybody.